everybody. Welcome once again to the Stevie B Show. As always, I'm Steve Bertarelli, and I have a very special guest with me, Miss Stephanie Palermo. Stephanie, it is so good to have you on.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me, Steve.
Now, Steph, I want you to talk a little bit about yourself. You actually are from Medford.
I am. I'm a Medford girl.
You're a Medford girl?
I am. I'm from First Street. I grew up in Wellington, Harris Park. I attended Osgood School. And then after that, I was at St. Joseph's School, and then I moved on to Pope John High School in Everett. So I didn't continue through the Medford public school system, but lived in Medford right through till I believe I was 16. Yes.
Now here's her book right here. The Only Way Is Up. Your Just Steph's Perspective of Life.
That's right.
Yeah. So what made you decide to become a motivational speaker?
Well, I grew up here at Sicilian and, in the city and doing all my stuff with that. However, I was born with a rare disorder called Pullen syndrome, which I have a smaller right hand. And believe me, if you think kids can be difficult, I had to deal with a little bit of bullying and not being picked for teams and all of that. I have to say my Medford friends were great, but it does happen, growing up with kids. And so I dealt with that, and I had to work very hard to get comfortable in my own skin. And I spent a lot of time in therapy and reading self-help books and getting right in my own skin. I worked on my body image and just being able to love myself and be my own best friend. And with that, I like to, bring that to my audiences and help them to align with their purpose and understand. Because there was a time in my life where I said, why am I here? Why bother? Why, what difference do I make here in this world? If I'm not here, no big deal. And I came to realize that I am an integral piece of the universal puzzle, just like everybody else. And I want to share that message with my audiences and with people that I work with one-on-one.
Oh, so you, based on your disorder, got you to become a motivational speaker, help people?
Yeah, basically, yes, that, and having to overcome my own struggles. And once I started, believe me, I didn't talk about it. And then once I started talking about it, people came out of the woodwork. I would tell somebody, I could be sitting at a bar and just start talking to somebody about it, and they'll go like, oh, my sister has 6 toes, or someone has one ear lower than the other, and there's always somebody has something. Mm-hmm. And you don't realize it. You think you're walking this journey alone, and you're not. Everybody is dealing with something, whether you can see it or not. And I am trying to help people recognize their amazingness.
Wow. And
know that they are the only piece of that puzzle that fits in the universe. And without them, the universe is lacking.
Wow. That's amazing. So you've helped a lot of people in your lifetime doing this?
I'd like to say so. I hear a lot of great feedback, and I hear people enjoying talking to me. People come to me and want to talk about what's going on in their world and in their life, and in my workshops and my podcast, I get a lot of great feedback that people have made a difference in their lives. Oh. And that's all I want. I want to make a difference in people's lives. I want them to realize that they are amazing.
Now, what are some of the things you talk about on your podcast?
Well, my podcast really has been, it's been evolving, and I love to talk about topics where, it really addresses what I've coined as second lifers. We're empty nesters, newly single, and those starting over. So it's essentially the over 40 crowd. I think we're a little bit of a mixed up generation. Parents had one foot in the 50s, one foot in the 60s. They stayed in marriages that they shouldn't have, and they left marriages and were ostracized. We are sort of the last generation of moms that struggled with either going back to work or staying home. A lot of us stayed home. I stayed home for 20 years with my kids. Mm-hmm. And when I was going through my divorce, my lawyer said, okay, you need to get a job. I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? I have a degree. Mm-hmm. I attended Regis College right
Oh,
here in Massachusetts.
yeah.
I have a degree in management and communications. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
So I started to write. And I always wanted to be on the radio. Love radio. Love it, love it. I actually love television as well, but I love the radio. And so I started to do some internet radio, and then I was on the radio itself in Atlanta, and now I'm back doing my own podcasts, and I sort of evolved into just using my motivational topics in my podcasts.
Oh, wow.
So
Now,
it's a lot of fun.
Do you also travel the country giving
Yeah.
speeches?
Well, yeah. I mean, I've been mostly in Atlanta and Boston. It's where my connections are.
Yeah.
You know, so that's really because remember, I've gone from staying home for 20 years to building an audience and building a business. And really, my branding, I'm just at that place where I'm, at that tipping point.
Yeah.
So my journey for me is just beginning, although I've been on it for so long.
Wow.
So this journey of speaking, and so actually I'm, it's so funny that you say that about being around the country. I'm actually speaking in Dubai.
In Dubai?
In Dubai.
United Arab Emirates?
Yes. I'm speaking in
Middle
Dubai.
East?
I
Wow.
am. I'm speaking in Dubai September 13th, and I'm speaking to the Global Nursing Conference, and it's an international congregation of doctors, nurses, and healthcare educators, and I'm speaking about living with rare diseases and rare disorders, and I'm so excited about that. And this is actually going to be my biggest audience, and really the farthest I've traveled to speak. So it's exciting.
Now, we're going to show a clip here. This is you interviewing Mike Marino for your podcast. Can you tell
Right.
us a little bit about that?
Oh, Mike is amazing. He's very funny. He does a skit. You have to Google it or put it on YouTube. He does a skit about how the American president should be from Jersey, an Italian from Jersey, and that, we would have no problems if we had an Italian president from Jersey. And so he's doing a tour right now called Make America Italian Again.
Oh,
And so he's very funny, and he does a lot of YouTube videos and all of that.
he's
And
a stand-up comic.
he is a stand-up comic, but he's from Jersey,
Mm-hmm.
and he talks about his journey in this interview of being an actor in New York City, and then just trying comedy, and he became, successful at it. And so he's a really great guy. Unfortunately, I was just out in LA working, and we crossed paths. He was on a cruise doing comedy, and
Yeah.
so we missed each other. But yeah, he's a great guy. So it was a lot of fun. You know what? It's really fun to talk to him because he understands the things that I grew up with.
Really?
Like the respect, the loyalty, and the things like that he and I talked about, that respect for authority, all of that. So.
Yeah, well, I'm from an Italian family myself, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
And the food.
The food, of course, the food. That's why I have a bit of a pot belly
Yeah.
myself. So we're going to take a look at this interview. It's going to last about 5 minutes, so sit back and enjoy, folks.
Hey, I'm Mike Marino, and I'm making America Italian again, and you're listening to me on the Just Steph Show.
Ooh, girl, you're shining like a Fifth Avenue diamond, and they don't make you like they used to. You're never going out of style.
Tell me, you've got so much going on. Why do you want to make America Italian again? I talked about why I think America should be Italian. What are your reasons why America should be Italian?
Well, it stemmed from some jokes that I was doing about my life and growing up Italian and coming out of the basement and eating all these great foods and just being happy all the time. And I think that's what maybe America needs, whether it's an Italian family or just another family that grew up blue collar. Because if you look what's going on in the world today, kids get away with things you never would have gotten away with. And when you have a problem these days, you ask Siri. I had a problem back in the day. I asked Mommy, what do you think? She said, sit down and have something to eat. You'll feel better. And everybody was happy.
Right. I
And
agree.
if there was nobody going to a high school and shooting a gun, you went to high school. If you got in a fight, you fought it out on the playground. You ended up becoming friends with the guy anyway.
Right.
So it's an old school, spare the rod, spoil the child needs to be in play. My mother used to beat the crap out of us. Even if you thought you were going to do something wrong, you got your butt kicked.
I know. It's amazing. I know. It's amazing. You know, my kids are texting me, can my friend come over? I go, get over here. Are you kidding me? I want to kill them. Like, come talk to me. What kid?
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. I agree. So tell you're on a big tour. You're in New Jersey. You have a big gig coming up this weekend.
This Saturday night, thank God, we sold out the 7 o'clock show over at the NJ Pack Center, which is a gigantic theater. I've always wanted to play here. And we added the 9:30 show. Now they say they got maybe 100 tickets left for the next 2 days, and we should go through that pretty quickly. And funny enough, Thursday and Friday night, the 2 nights before I take the stage, is Frankie Valli.
I love Frankie Valli.
Bandmates are fans of mine. They called me this afternoon saying, hey, you know, here's some tickets. Please come backstage, hang out with Frankie, meet everybody. And I'm like, are you kidding me? You guys are fans of mine? Do you realize who you are? Realize who you are?
Do you need a date?
Tell Frankie Valli I'll be there. Tell him not to park in my spot.
Oh my God! Oh my God! I saw Frankie Valli. He came here to Atlanta. Me and my mom was screaming, Frankie! I love that's all. I love that. I'm like thinking maybe you need a date. Like I could just fly up there. Oh my God! That's so fun. I love it. I love it. I saw Jersey Boys. Like I saw them actually on Broadway, the original cast, and I saw it here in Atlanta. So. I mean, I just love that. I love the whole old school thing. You know, Sal Valentinetti and all those guys up there. I love it. It's great. So what actually made you want to be a comedian? And you know, I think nothing's funnier than real life. So especially growing up Italian. So that's my thought. But what made you want to kind of get up there and make people laugh?
Well, speaking real quick about Sal Valentinetti, he and I have done a lot of shows together. And I went on stage to open for the band, and these guys are probably going to ask me to open for Frankie. I mean, that's the next question. And it's funny enough, I'm going to actually have to say I have a conflict. I'm here tomorrow night, so I can't. But I never set out to be a comedian. I was an actor since I'm about 3-4 years old. I grew up doing TV commercials in New York City because I have blonde hair and blue eyes, and I know how to bite into a potato hamburger. And it wasn't until I was about 29 years old that I was at an open mic at a comedy club in New Jersey, and somebody on a dare said, you're an actor, why don't you get up there and see if you can do what they're doing? And I said, okay. And the prize, I think, was $50 and a drink. So I went on stage and I said, my mom this, my mom that, my mom this, and my mom that. And the guy goes, oh, you're a phenomenal comedian. I'm like, okay, give me the $50 and the drink.
Right.
And I never really thought anything of it. But then I get addicted to it. And I started going out every night searching out these open mics and seeing if I could be a comedian. And then I guess you're 10 years into it and you're making great money. And before you know it, you start getting roles as an actor because people see you performing as a comedian.
Right.
And I got my last 3 movie roles because I was doing stand-up, and somebody in the club said, you're great, I have a role for you in this movie. And it happened, quite honestly, now more than it ever does.
Right.
I mean, I'm booking movies that my agent don't even know about. And I'm looking at him like, well, what do you do?
I know.
Well, that was very funny. That was really that was a good interview. So yeah,
I loved it.
Who else have you interviewed over the years?
You know, I interviewed when I was out in LA. I interviewed Marco Palos, who is the saxophone player for Louis Prima Jr. And his band travels around the world, Louis Prima and the Witnesses. And I went to see them at City Winery in Atlanta a couple of times, but the first time I went, I go, okay, this is going to be kind of boring. I don't know, you know, maybe it's old school stuff, but it was the most amazing show.
Wow.
and very upbeat, and you knew all the songs, and Louis is just amazing, and you get to, meet, he's just, he sings a lot of his dad's old Italian songs, and
Didn't his dad, wasn't he like a voice in a Disney cartoon?
he did the Jungle Book.
Oh, he was, I
King
Want to
Louis.
Be King Louis, yeah.
He was King Louis, and he sings this, and he sings it during the show. And Marco is just an amazing saxophone player, and he's got some great. We're sort of on the same page when it comes to self-help and being. We're of the same mindset of that positive energy and really aligning yourself with your purpose and walking in your zone, the things that I talk about. So we had a lot to talk about. He was a great interview. I've interviewed a lot. Oh, Joey Noon, he's from Malden. He's Joey Voices.
Oh, yes, I've heard of
I've
him.
interviewed Joey. I've interviewed Julie Spira, who is one of the top 10 experts on online dating in the United States. I've interviewed Melanie Robinson, who is also a dating expert. She's out of New York. She's amazing. And I was actually on her podcast. Who else from here? Chris Ridgway is a friend of mine from Medford. We went to Osgood School together. He is a local musician and has been on radio here. And he was on the Tufts radio show, the Tufts Radio.
Yep, Tufts Radio.
And so he and I do some shows together, and we have a lot of fun. Oh my God, we're just great together. But down in Atlanta, I've interviewed Steve DiFilippo from Davio's. He's a friend of mine. Those have always been great shows. And then, of course, in Atlanta, I've had local restaurateurs, nightclub owners, life coaches, lawyers, doctors, anybody who would have great information and and relate to the over 40 crowd.
Oh, okay.
On health, trainers. I've had, lots of great interviews.
How is Atlanta different from Boston? Can you give like any examples?
There's really no ethnicity.
Oh.
There's no, Chinatown. There's no North End, Southie. There's none of that. There's no Charlestown. There's definitely neighborhoods, and the restaurants there, the food has really come up in the years that I've been there, but unless you go higher end and spending a lot of money like an Abe and Louie's from here, it's not really the greatest. Now they have lower end, you can go medium priced on barbecue and stuff like that, but it's not that great in terms of, the barbecue's great, but in terms of, like, say if you want to just go get a dish of macaroni somewhere, you're going high end. You're going to places like Davio's.
Oh, okay.
That's what you do. And the pizza is no Chinese food.
No Chinese food.
Well, they have it, but the duck sauce is pink and they give it to you in packets.
Oh.
Yeah. So, but it's very social. There's a lot going on. There's a lot
It's got that southern charm.
It's very social. There's lots to do, and it's the Hollywood of the South. The filming that's going on in Atlanta
I know
is amazing.
they're going to film all those movies and TV shows. Family Feud is
There's a great tax break for filming in Atlanta. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of great music too, because there's a lot of rap there. There's it's very close to Nashville.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of great music. There's a lot of socializing. It's a lot like LA, but with a southern flair.
Oh,
in the city. You go outside of the city, not too far, and you can feel like you're in New Hampshire. So it really, you have
they
your
had
city.
the Olympics there back in '96.
Right. I actually came back to Boston while they had the Olympics just to get out of Dodge.
Oh.
There was too much going on.
Wow.
And you know what? I was glad I did. They had that bombing in Centennial Park.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah, but I love to visit Atlanta. I was one of the few Patriot fans who actually kind of felt a little sorry for Atlanta after that Super Bowl.
Yeah, that was sad for Atlanta, but I did have my Tom Brady shirt on. Just saying. My dog had her, her Patriots cheerleader outfit on. So, yeah. And I'll go to Falcons meetups with my Brady shirt on.
Oh my God, that's dangerous.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny because you know what? Atlanta is sort of a melting pot. So yeah, there are hard Falcons fans, and I love the home team too. Like whatever, they're great,
Yeah.
they're fine. It's all good. I'm actually friends with one of the ex-Falcons. He owns Title Boxing, Brian Scott. He's an amazing guy, awesome. He actually sent me a picture of him in a game, and it's him catching the ball, but it's Tom Brady's back. You could see it's Tom Brady's in it, so he sent me that picture. That was great.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that are from different areas. So you'll show up to a Falcons meetup, and there might be someone with an Eagles jersey on, someone with a Cardinals jersey. So it's everywhere. So and I used to love to see the Red Sox when the Red Sox came to Atlanta. I've seen them many times playing against the Braves.
Can we talk about a little bit about your book here?
Sure.
Okay. The Only Way is Up. Now, can you talk to, this book is dedicated to your father.
That's right.
Natty Palermo. Can you talk a little bit about, what are some of the subjects you talk about in your book?
Well, I wrote the book so long ago, and it really was a compilation of blogs that I had written, and I talk about things that touched me, growing up. Christmas Day dinner, my father, on Super Bowl Sunday, and what it was like for us growing up. And you'll have to read the book to get all the details. But I talk about a little bit what it's like without. And this is funny. When I wrote the book, I could see my own evolution because I never mentioned once in there that I have Poland syndrome. However, I talk about growing up with a limb difference. So I talk about what it was like to not be part of the crowd. I talk about doing things my way. I have one of the titles of the chapters in there is my way. I talk about going to Italy and meeting my cousins and what my family means to me and how I love being with my family. So
That's one thing you and I have in common. We love our families, I think.
yeah, I love my family. Love my family. I just, that's why I miss home. That's the biggest reason why I miss home. When I'm in Atlanta, I have a great life. I have great friends, my kids are there too, but they're all they're getting scattered as well. They're getting older. But when I come home to Boston, I have this whole extended family of cousins and aunts and uncles and friends that are really like my family here that I grew up with, that I don't have that in Atlanta. Here I'm busy and I can work like I do in Atlanta, but I don't get I'll come over for coffee, or I'll just drop by, or hey, you want to come by and have a drink, or do you want to come by? We're grilling out. I don't get that in Atlanta because people are much more, they go out and they're social out of their home, where everyone here is a little bit more homey.
Oh, yeah, I know. It's, like I said, you said Boston is more diverse in that way.
Right, ethnicity.
Oh, yeah.
The ethnicity.
Yeah, you
Absolutely.
have I love these pictures here you have of a lot of your family. I love this saying right here: Italian girls make the best lovers, the best friends, and the worst enemies.
There you go.
That's true. That's
Right.
true.
There's another one that says, in Sicily, women are considered more dangerous than handguns. Yeah.
I believe it.
So don't cross us, right?
Right. It's this one I like. It's gravy, not sauce, because I said so. No, my family has always called it sauce.
Well, because it is sugo. Sugo is sauce.
I've never heard it called gravy. Whenever I said my mother, what are you doing? Well, I'm making sauce.
Well,
and she's Sicilian. That's the funny thing.
Well, the funny thing is I learned when I went to Sicily why Italian Americans called it gravy, and we had a guide, a driver, and he said that when Sicilians or Italians went over to America, they were already American children there, and those kids were eating gravy, like with their meat, like roast
Yeah.
beef and brown gravy, like what I would call brown gravy. And the Italians wanted their kids to be assimilated into American culture, so they started to call the red sauce gravy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was the reason why some of us adopted that, saying gravy, but it is sugo, it's sauce. That's the authentic. Authentic is sauce.
Yeah, like I said, my family has always called it sauce, you know.
Right.
And then you go to the North End of in Boston, and they always have those shirts. It's gravy, not sauce.
Right. Well, there's always that little thing. But with my friends, it's funny because, I would talk to one of my girlfriends from here about the holidays, and I'd say, "Oh, who's making the gravy?" And that's how we would talk. I mean, and so my friends always said gravy.
Can you tell us a little bit about Poland syndrome? I mean, how
Sure.
often, if it's up to you, of
No,
course.
no, sure. Well, Poland syndrome, it's considered a rare disorder. It's not a disease. Nobody can catch it.
Yep.
But it's it's under that umbrella. It's sort of like muscular dystrophy is a rare disorder as well.
Yeah.
And so it really affects 1 in 100,000 people or less, even less than that. It affects more men than women, so I'm even rarer. It affects the right side more than the left, and everybody has it a little different. Some people are missing ribs or pec muscles, or sometimes their legs are affected. I belong to several support groups on Facebook, and there are people that have chronic pain. Now, the funny thing is, I always say, I don't have any pain, but the whole left side of my body is messed up because they don't know if it's part of the disorder or the fact that I've just developed completely differently because I have used my left side to death.
Yeah.
I'm 50, almost 52, so almost 52 years of just one side. So my knee blows up, my shoulder, it's crazy. But I'm really good because I do work out quite a bit, so I try to stay healthy in that way. But there are people that really struggle with chronic pain. There are people with other issues associated with Poland syndrome, and I've read some really sad facts about teenagers in this day and age that are feeling so badly about themselves they want to hurt themselves or kill themselves. And it's very sad for me to watch. And so this is why going to Dubai and speaking about this is so important to me. And the whole thing, Steve, none of it's paid. I'm paying for it out of my pocket. I'm hoping to get corporate sponsors.
Okay.
I've reached out to corporations and doctors and insurance companies, and I've asked them to sponsor me with the knowledge that I am going to help them and promote. Their names are going to be on slides in Dubai, and it'll be on my newsletter, on my website, and on social media, and I will promote them that way. I mean, that's kind of what I would like to do. So if there are any corporations or doctors or biotech companies that are interested in helping raise awareness on rare diseases and rare disorders, they can reach me at steph@juststeph.com.
Okay, we're gonna put the your website and your email if you want up on the credits at the
Right.
end. Now,
Right.
may I ask one question? Like, it's your right hand, so
Yes.
I mean, like, is there something that are there still things you can do with the hand, or is it?
Oh
just-
yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I do. I drive. The thing is I struggle with blow drying my hair.
Okay.
That's a pain. Things are a little bit harder for me. Peeling potatoes. It's just a little bit harder. And the thing is I never talked about it, and I just always did what I was supposed to do. Now, the funny thing is I'm this age. I'm finally saying, you know what? Maybe I should get a handicap plate because I can't carry bags to the car, but I never thought about it. Getting on airplanes, I asked to board first because I have a hard time juggling my bags, and people are always waiting for me to get settled, and it gives me anxiety that people are waiting. So I don't want them to wait. So I board first.
Okay.
That's what I do. I never did that before, except for the last couple of years, because I'm going, oh my gosh, I have all this anxiety about, in certain workouts, I can't go to certain classes because if they're doing certain things, like lifting hand weights,
Yeah.
I can't do them. So I would slow everybody down. So I'm very cautious about that, and I just watch what I'm doing. So yeah, there are things that I can and can't do. I can't play the violin. I can't play the piano.
I can't play the piano or violin either.
So, I would have liked to have been able to do that, do some of that stuff, but it wasn't in the cards for me.
Well, I got to tell you, Steph, the brief time I've known you, I just want to say you are an amazing, incredible person.
Oh, thank
and
you.
And you're so. I mean, you go through life, you motivate people, and I'm so happy to have you on my show, and I'm so lucky to have you, and my audience are lucky to get to know you a
Thank you.
little
I
bit
appreciate
more.
that, really. It means a lot to me.
Now, what are you going to be doing up in the future, in Atlanta or?
Well, I'm very excited about things that I have happening for me. Of course, I'm going to continue with my Facebook Lives and the podcasts and those kind of free motivational little blurbs that you'll be able to get a little piece of Just Steph at just me being out there and doing the things that I love to do. But also, I am currently working on a curriculum for an 12-week course that will be a webinar that people can sign up for, and that'll be up for, with a maximum of 8 people. I'm also offering one-on-one consultations.
Oh.
And with helping people getting aligned with their purpose and taking their life from good to great. And, if they're trying to figure out, or if they have some things some conflicts in their lives, I can totally work on that with them. So those kind of things. I'm writing, I'm doing my newsletter and blogging and speaking and also workshops, continuing my
You're
workshops.
busy.
Yeah, so I'm available for speaking engagements, and if you want me to come and do a workshop for your for your group, I'm actually available for that as well.
If you want to know more about Stephanie, her website is www.juststeph.com, and her Twitter is @StephPalermo.
That's right.
And LinkedIn, YouTube, Steph Palermo, and Instagram, and her weekly podcast, which you can get on YouTube, the Just Steph Show.
That's right. I'm on iTunes as well.
Yeah.
And SoundCloud.
What did I say? YouTube?
I don't know. I don't know.
iTunes,
Yeah.
and you also have your own YouTube page.
Right. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Instagram. I'm everywhere.
Yep, we're going to give the info on the credits. Stephanie,
Perfect.
I want to thank you so much for being here. I really
Thank you.
appreciate
I loved
it.
it.
I hope I was a good enough interviewer for you.
You're perfect. You're perfect.
I know. I
You're
want to
perfect, just the way you are.
That's the point. You're perfect just the way you are as well.
Thank you.
Right? And that's all the time we have. And I want to thank my guest, Steph Palermo. And
Thank you.
thank you once again. And this is Stevie B Show. I'm Steve Bertarelli, and we hope to see you next time. Bye.
Ciao.